I think that it's naive to think that nobody's using it in our organization. So, but we're being very thoughtful of how we approach that, but we haven't formalized the policy yet, but starting to develop those things.
Welcome to the Risk Never Sleeps podcast, in which we learn about the people that are on the front lines delivering and protecting patient safety. I'm Ed Gaudet, the host of our program, and today joining us is Shane Pilcher. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be on the podcast.
And you're in Chattanooga, Tennessee?
Yes, we are. Right. Beautiful Chattanooga. So you've never...
Yeah, God's country.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's start off with, just give listeners a sense of your current role in your organization.
Well, I am the Chief Information Officer, and I also am responsible for our information security program. But Siskin Hospital is actually the largest inpatient acute care rehab hospital in the state of Tennessee, one of the few remaining independent rehab hospitals, and we are doing everything we can on a daily basis to remain independent, but very blessed to be able to provide this mission to the region of Chattanooga.
Yeah. How big is your population? How big of a population do you serve?
We have, to be honest, I'm not sure what the population is of Chattanooga. I know it's the third largest city in the state of Tennessee, and quickly approaching, the same level as Knoxville is. So,
okay,
we're looking to overtake Knoxville as soon as we can. So we're trying.
And what types of services do you provide at the hospital? So
our focus is on spinal cord injuries, brain injury. It's certainly multiple traumatic issues, and as well as complex medical care, but all needing some level of inpatient physical occupational therapy, as well as psychological support. Got it.
And you pulled the card to handle not only the CIO role, but the CISO role as well.
Correct. So we wear multiple hats here, and it's certainly been an interesting combination, but it's worked.
As you look out over the next 12 months, 24 months, what are the top strategic initiatives you're looking at?
Well, digital transformation is certainly on our is our focus, and we have worked hard at really getting rid of technical debt and giving our clinicians the tools they need to be able to take care of the patients the way we need to. But as we move into the next fiscal year, our focus really is kind of shifting to resiliency. So we are, while we are focused on the blocking and tackling on a daily basis, we're also starting to really prepare for the inevitable event of downtimes, and actually running downtime drills, getting to the point where we're going to turn things off and actually simulate a true drill or true downtime to make sure that when it happens, we're ready.
Oh, wow. And which EHR are you on, or EMR are you on?
So we're on WellSky Specialty Care. It's being physical therapy, rehab focused. That EHR really kind of fit the need the most, and we went live on it about a year ago. So very pleased with how that's turning out.
And how's your organization thinking about or adopting even artificial intelligence? Have you started down that path yet?
We have. We started kind of dipping our toe in it. But we are, there's different types of AI, right? So, certainly looking at automation and machine learning and ways that we can try and, make things more efficient. As far as, generative, we're looking for ways that we can make that our provider, experience better, so they can spend more time focusing on the patient than trying to just document things in the EMR. So we're looking for those. But I guess one of the challenges, I think, is trying to identify the tool or the organization that's going to be here next year or down the road, because everyone has a great tool, but if you're going to invest, identifying the ones that had the longevity piece to it too. So watching others across the landscape and kind of dipping our toe.
The ones that are scalable and secure at the same time that support the needs.
Exactly.
And like you said, aren't going away tomorrow. Have you deployed ambient listening or anything like that today?
Not yet. We are investigating and exploring those. I know we first started looking at that, probably 6 years ago. And it's truly come a long way. So we're about ready to start looking at it in earnest again.
And as as the CISO, have you deployed or started to think about maybe a governance committee for AI, or where you are on that journey?
Yeah, so we're early into that as well. I think that it's naive to think that nobody's using it in our organization. So, but we're being very thoughtful of how we approach that, but we haven't formalized the policy yet, but starting to develop those things.
Got it. And when you put your CISO hat on, when you think about next 12, 24 months, what are some of the security initiatives you have in play?
Well, certainly AI is that. I mean, that's a very key focus of ours, but also it's continuing to expand on the infrastructure and the layer of security that we have, but really maturing our program as well, and making sure that continue to evolve the policies so that it really becomes part of the culture of the organization. And our organization we get a lot of support when it comes to cybersecurity. And unlike some organizations that really have to fight, our leadership is really supportive of it. And by its nature, security doesn't create efficiencies; it creates roadblocks by design. But so making sure that we're doing everything we can, that the roadblocks or the layers of processes that we put in place are truly necessary, and that we have the best tools we can to make it as least impactful as possible.
Yeah, and I noticed you were in the military, so thank you for your service.
Thank you.
What as you think about the experience you had in the Navy, what are some of the leadership traits or experiences or learnings do you bring along with you into healthcare?
Well, the biggest thing is adaptability. You learn that you make plans, you execute plans, but you quick to pivot when you have to. And I think that's kind of one of the biggest strengths. But also it's mission. I know in the military side, I was able to spend a lot of time. I provided care as a respiratory therapist, but later on I was intelligence. But the mission was all about taking care of the country and providing, doing what is best for the country. Now, in healthcare, is doing what's best for that patient, and being able to understand mission first is, I think, a critical piece to what it brings in.
Any advice to peers as it relates to forming relationships with clinicians? It's always tends to be a struggle for some people, and I always wonder how people deal with that, and what advice or what experience they're able to apply to that seemingly challenging exercise at times.
Sure. I think the key thing is assume good intentions. I mean, understand that we're all working to try and take care of that patient and get the best outcome that we possibly can for that patient. So understanding they have a role, just like we have a role to play, and that we're partners in it, and that any interaction, they at the heart of it, they want what's best for the patient. And if aligned there, everything else we can kind of figure out. So I think that, and making sure that you are constantly, developing that relationship, but and not waiting for things to go wrong before you're really interacting with them. You had that relationship already in place before, challenges arise.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think over the last decade, with certainly the shift in reliance on technology, clinicians are much more open to, having that relationship where I think in the past they may not have been.
Right. And I mean, it's the technology is here to stay. Just like with cybersecurity, it's not necessarily creating efficiencies. There are a lot of benefits, but there's a lot of downside to the technology too.
Yeah,
so really involving the providers in the strategic planning around where you're going, from your technology perspective, make sure that they have input and they have ownership in it. It really helps with adoption, once you put it in place, because they've had a voice, and that's, you're working together. So,
yeah, like making sure you strike the balance between usability, access, and that timeout session that you may have to set.
Absolutely. And of course, the number of clicks that it takes to accomplish it.
That's right. The number of clicks, because they don't want any clicks.
Absolutely. Yeah. But, it can seem frustrating when we're talking about the number of clicks, but when you extrapolate that across the number of patients, the number of hours, and the things the time that it takes, it really does contribute to the burnout that we're seeing for providers. So it's a real thing. And once again, remembering that they have good intentions. So it's not just about counting clicks. They want to be able to take care of the patient.
I think that's so. I think that's a great point to bring up too, because we often forget that. But in the world of the clinician, that is sort of the core tension, if you will, with their ability to deliver care. Things like ambient listening will help in reduction of clicks, as will other AI. But that's been a long battle with the doctor and the technician. Right. Because you and I, we may access the same system and we may have ways to minimize our clicks, but if you're a clinician, you're all over the hospital, the health system. You're not sitting at one desk. You're not sitting at one device or one laptop. You're roaming the floors. You're hitting multiple devices every hour. So, like you said, these clicks add up to oftentimes frustration and the inability to deliver care in a meaningful way.
And let's be honest, documenting it on a computer is not why they went to medical school.
Yes. Amen.
For every minute that we have them spending behind the screen, that's a minute that we're taking away from them interacting with the patient. So, anything we can do to make that process most efficient and as seamless is important.
Yeah, exactly. So outside of healthcare, outside of your day job in IT, what are you most passionate about? What would you be doing if you weren't doing this job?
Oh my, family is the most important thing. So I mean, we have a 10-year-old grandson, or he'll be 10 this year. He's the center of our universe. Second grandson is on the way. So
nice.
Yeah. So we are. That honestly is where I would spend every moment of my day. And no matter how challenging the day is, nothing that a few minutes with them can't fix.
Yeah, I love that. We just had our first grandson 5 weeks ago, so we're basking in the newness and glory of that experience.
Or just when you start seeing their personality and the things that truly is amazing. So
yeah, no, we're already. He's here right now, and my wife. It's just great to see her. We have 3 daughters, and it's great to see that. That spark in her eye again with the baby, and it's kind of amazing. Not that she doesn't have a spark in her eye. So if you're listening, honey, you have a spark in your eye.
Exactly. And then just for your 3 daughters, when they come up and say that you love your grandchild more than love them, it's not true. It's just by this time, we know what what was important, and sometimes playing with them a little bit longer, laying on the floor with them and doing the dishes a little bit later is might be it is okay, and we're not trying to just get through the day and get them to bed and get them up the next day kind of thing. So we love them the same, but
that's so great. That's so great. I know they don't usually come by 24/7, or I hope they don't. Any other hobbies? You golf, or you do any?
I love to golf. I haven't gotten out as much as I actually just finished school. So now I'm wanting to get back out there. But for the last 3 years, I've been in a doctorate program, and that's kind of taken all my time. But I plan to get back out there on the course.
Have you gotten your doctorate?
I did. Yeah.
Congrats. What was your thesis? Did you do a...
So it was CEO characteristics and high performing community hospitals.
Really? So what did you find? That's fascinating.
Well, hey, it was very interesting that first of all, I would really love to dig more into leadership style and those kind of characteristics, but the best dissertation is a done dissertation. So I really, I focused on education, the years of experience, and clinical background versus a non-clinical background. And I used the 100 top hospital list that comes out every year to identify those key performers, and then I found comparable hospitals that either from the same zip code or same characteristics, so that you kind of factored out the environmental factors that may impact success of a hospital. But what was really fascinating is, I tried linking that to the upper echelon theory. So really kind of driving that organization is going to take on the gonna look like their chief executive or their executive team based upon their decisions and their the way that their focus. The organization would then kind of follow along, but really didn't find that. So what I found was that leadership style, while the entry level should be a certain amount of education or a certain amount of experience, you should look for in finding that chief executive. But what's going to make more of an impact is going to be that leadership style that they do versus, just strictly education and experience and that kind of thing.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm a student of leadership. I also served in the military, and thank you, sir. Yeah, no, it's but you're always learning. That's what I love about life. You're always learning. You're always And even things that you thought you knew, just wait 10 years, you realize you didn't know.
Yeah, that's actually the biggest area that you can learn more. If you think you know, you clearly have more to learn.
That's right. Okay, so going back in time, and you see your 20-year-old self, what would you tell him?
Wow. I would say there's more to healthcare than just taking care of the patient. I mean, when I first got into healthcare, I was at the bedside, and I really enjoyed it. I remember those years very fondly. But the leadership, the administrative, without good leadership, you don't have the opportunity to take care of the patient and to keep the doors open to be able to provide that care. You need great leadership. So I would say, while learning to hone your skills of taking care of your patient, also learn how to lead, because that's not necessarily native to everybody.
Yeah, that's good. And at 20 years old, you're not thinking about leadership at that. Most aren't anyway.
Instead, you're just talking about how crazy the decisions that the leadership's making.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the Risk Never Sleeps podcast. So I've got to ask you this question. What's the riskiest thing you've ever done? And you've been in the military, so you probably get some a list of risky things, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, I've been in some risky situations, but the goodness, healthcare wise, yeah, I would say back in early on in my Navy career, I was an EMT as well. So I mean, crawling into upside down vehicles and crazy situations, that still gets your heart pumping. But today, it's every user clicking something, and that to me, no matter what I've done in my past, my military days, that is riskier and scarier than anything, because it only takes one click.
Yeah, we're all one click away from a phishing attack, or
exactly. And that one thing can, we've seen breaches that took down hospitals across the country, kind of thing, because one person clicked.
All right, this one's a little fun. So share a fun fact about you that many people may not know.
Oh, man.
You're a Swiftie.
I love to sing.
You like Taylor Swift.
Yeah, there you go. So, but yeah, I can't necessarily say that everyone loves to hear me, but I do enjoy music, and I love singing.
Oh, good. Oh, do you do karaoke?
I will on occasion.
Really?
If my wife can tolerate it, absolutely.
Well, this is a setup for this next question.
Okay.
You're on a desert island. What 5 records would you bring with yourself?
Oh, man. They'd have to be classic rock of some kind.
Okay.
I would think Queen would be
good. Yeah.
Something from them. The probably Leonard Skynyrd, and I don't know. I'd have to think of the others, but definitely something classic.
Leonard Skynyrd, Queen. All right. This is a rocking island you got.
There you go. And hey, if you're going to be there, if you have the power to play them as well,
probably some Led Zeppelin there, maybe.
Yeah, why not?
Awesome. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Going back to my military days, God Bless the USA is one that I've always
nice.
Loved. But trying to branch out. It's been a while since I've done it, but yeah, God Bless USA would be my go-to if I could do that all the time.
Nice. I prefer Elton John, your song. But I will sing anything. So.
Well, then we'll have to find a karaoke.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, maybe one of these conferences.
There you go. Sounds like
hardest lesson in your career.
Trust your gut.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that any employee issue, any bad hire, any major incident that happens, usually there's some point that I can put my finger on that said at some point I heard a voice in my head saying, think about this, and didn't. So trust your gut.
That's so true, isn't it though? I mean, I always find like when I try to apply logic to the situation,
right.
It doesn't always
the voice away, and then that's when you act like
you get yourself into trouble.
And I'll say one other thing that a mentor of mine had said to me, and it's kind of stuck. When I asked her, she was the CEO of a hospital, and I asked her, how do you make all the big decisions that you make? Because you have thousands of lives, employees, and so much riding on it. And she was like, you make an educated decision, but then you make it the right decision. So, do your homework, but make the decision and then make it be the right decision.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, that's really good advice. Last question. Any advice to graduates that want to break into healthcare and or IT or cyber?
Do it. So many are healthcare isn't getting easier, and then the headwinds is not going to get easier. So you're not doing it because it's an easy job, but you'll never do anything that has more meaning. You're not getting up and just trying to get a product on a shelf, but you're actually transforming lives, and there's nothing more noble than that. So do it.
Yeah, that shared mission is unlike any other industry. Like, you just don't get what you get in healthcare.
Right.
So true. Shane, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
All right. This is Ed Gaudet from the Risk Never Sleeps podcast. And if you're on the front lines delivering patient care and protecting patient safety, remember to stay vigilant, because risk never sleeps.